Good morning. We've kind of come to a culmination in a manner of speaking, in regard to some things that have been taking place over the last year, and especially over the last couple of weeks. Over the last year or so, or maybe even more than a year, we've had bulletin articles from me, and in the last couple of weeks, pulpit talks and mailings that have gone out to your homes about our planning to address some of the overlooked practical needs of our church building, adding a new addition as a main entrance and gathering space, and then renovating the vestibule and enlarging and upgrading and making handicapped accessible the facilities that are presently within it. After 4 months of planning, after months of planning, our parish campaign kicked off, God's House, Our Home, Building Our Future Together, earlier this spring. Our goal has been to raise $735,000 to accomplish these needed improvements to our church. Initially, we reached out to 100 of our 475 registered parish families to get an initial response. And I can report to you that having received 45 responses to this point from those 100 families, we have received over $400,000 in pledges and over $150,000 in payments on those pledges. This is a great response. It's a tremendous response from 45 families, but we still have a way to go to meet our goal. Again, we do have 475 registered families. We have about 200 regular mass goers who use either offertory envelopes or contribute online each week. And slightly over every year, we average a little over 100 contributors to the CSA every year. So while not every family, every person, every individual may be able to give to this capital campaign, we still have a good number who can, based on our normal giving and our CSA giving history. And their sacrificial offerings pledged to the campaign can help make all of the difference in reaching our goal. You know, I came to St. Edward, I forget the exact date, it was in June of this month, 7 years ago, was the summer of 2016. And by next summer, I will have spent exactly half of my priesthood, which will be 16 years come next summer, half of my priesthood serving you, serving this parish, 8 years. My goal in coming to St. Edward, when Bishop Hine asked me to come here, was the goal I have when beginning any parish assignment. And that goal is to, in whatever ways that I can, to leave that parish one day better than I found it, for the current and future parishioners, and for the priest who will one day follow in my steps as pastor of St. Edward. Over the past 7 years, we've been able to accomplish many things, wonderful things, thanks to you and to your generosity to the parish, especially in regard to making our church building, our worship space, a more beautiful place to pray and to worship and to give glory and honor to God. We upgraded our choir area with new equipment, new wiring, carpeting, etc. We added stained glass windows, as you're well aware, and then the plexiglass windows on the east and west walls. Added new tiling to the sanctuary area and new wood molding around the side, new carpeting throughout the church, a new upholstery and padding on the chairs. We took what was once the confessional, those 3 doors that had become storage closets for mostly junk, and gutted that and converted that into a beautiful prayer niche with a Pieta statue. We replaced basically all the major furnishings, the altar, the ambo, the presider's chair, the baptismal font. We refurbished the Stations of the Cross, Ken Fallon, before his passing, endeavored on that labor of love. We've added 2 new outdoor gardens, the Divine Mercy Prayer Garden and the Holy Angels Prayer Garden, and of course the new outdoor sign, which is lighted. I've also mentioned we're currently in the process of completing a beautification of the area where the tabernacle is to help us bring our focal point to the altar and to the tabernacle. This was, again, another project Ken had started, and Nate Cleefish is working on to bring it to its completion. We've done all of this, all of these things without having to take one dime from our parish savings account, and without having to conduct any kind of parish-wide financial appeal. We've put offertory envelopes for specific projects in the vestibule for those who wished to give, but that was the extent of our asking. Now we've come to the capital campaign and the goals that we have for it, and I can say, I believe with confidence, that this will be the culmination of our efforts together, regardless of how many years more I am privileged to be your pastor. Whether it be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, who knows? That's all in God's hands. I will also never ask you to do something that I am not willing to do myself. Basically, in reaching out to these 100 families from the parish, the capital campaign consultants we're working with from our Sunday Visitor analyzed our giving, the statistics and the data from last year, and to those families there was a specific ask amount requested. Not that family could necessarily give that, but this was an asked amount. I'm not saying this to blow a horn. I'm just saying this to say I'm on board with it. I was asked, my ask letter was $10,000. So I've given half of it, and I hope to pay off the rest of it next year. Some have already pledged much more than what I gave, and others less. But the thing is, every pledge counts. Every pledge is needed in order to make our goal. And here's the thing, we're not asking for equal giving, we're asking for equal sacrifice. We don't expect anyone to give what they cannot give or what they cannot afford to give. That's why on the pledge thing, pledge card, it says, there's a box, I cannot afford to give at this time, but I'm praying for the success of the campaign. But the thing is, we are asking those who can give to make their gift a sacrificial gift. What does that mean when we talk about a gift being sacrificial? Well, a sacrifice, we know, is something that is not easy. A sacrificial gift is not easy to give. It's going to cause some level of discomfort. I can tell you it did for me. It did for me. I'm not swimming in money. So I just ask that you pray as I pray that my 2014 Escape, parked out there, lasts about 4 or 5 more years than I have originally planned. But the thing is, that's okay. You just give, trusting that one way or another God's going to work things out. If you've not already received the God's House, Our Home, Building Our Future Together campaign packet the past few weeks, you should have received literature in the mail this past week with the pledge card and an envelope. If you did not, or if you need a pledge card or an envelope, a pledge packet, they are in the back. Ushers, if you want to perhaps grab a handful, and if you need one of those envelopes to either take home with you or to review in the next few minutes, we'll have the ushers pass those out to you. Just raise your hand indicating that you need one. Remember, the campaign pledge is a 3-year pledge. It's a 36-month pledge. If you're able to pay off that pledge sooner, that's wonderful. If your circumstances change and you're not able to continue making the pledge payments, just let us know so that we can adjust our records accordingly. If you're able to pledge $1.50 a day over 36 months, that's, I think, around $45 a month. That's a $1,620 pledge. That's huge. That's big. That's big. If your circumstances allow you to make a larger sacrificial gift as your pledge, ask you to please consider doing so. So, I'll bring this to a conclusion. This will be the last of the 3 pulpit talks. The campaign will continue, of course. Envelopes will continue to be available in the vestibule, just like for the CSA, over the next number of months. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all you've done for St. Edward Parish and to assist me in my role as pastor at this parish over the last 7 years, and for all that you continue to do as we move faithfully and confidently into the future.